Welcome to the Virtual Millionaire Show, the ultimate destination for all things real estate investing. I'm your host, Michael McDonald, a real estate investor based out of Las Vegas, and I am on a mission to help you scale your real estate business. This podcast is designed to educate, motivate, and inspire you on your journey to becoming a virtual millionaire in the world of real estate. We bring to you experts from successful owners across the country who share actionable advice that you can implement immediately. Our goal is to equip you with the knowledge and tools needed to launch and grow your real estate investing business, paving the way for financial success. Before we dive into today's episode, I wanted to take a moment to thank our sponsor, Property Pros Marketing. Property Pros Marketing drives motivated seller leads directly to you through digital marketing. Check them out at propertyprosmarketing.com. Now, let's get started with another episode of the Virtual Millionaire Show. Coming back to you with another episode of the Virtual Millionaire Show. I have with me today, Tommy Harr. Tommy, what's good, my friend? How you doing, buddy?
What's up, man? Super excited to be here and build a relationship with you. Appreciate you having me.
Of course, man. It only makes sense considering, we're both in the same family, if you will, the mastermind. So excited to get to know your story a little bit. I think it's going to really resonate with the people listening today. For those who haven't met you, kind of give them that 10,000 square view of who you are and really how you landed into real estate investing.
For sure. Yeah, like I said, I'm Tommy Harr, based out of Columbus, Ohio. 29 years old. So I graduated college in 2017, took a traditional route like many people do, and became a home inspector with my dad. So I'm one of 5 kids. My dad has a home inspection company that he's ran for 23 years, kind of a one-man show. So I'm the oldest boy, so decided to work with my pops and be his right-hand man. So as time went on, pretty quickly started doing inspections for investors and learned that that was the lifestyle and that was the money I wanted to make. And it was an easy choice to go all in on all that stuff. So now we have a wholesaling company, we have a flipping company, we have about 65 rental properties, manage them all in-house. So we have kind of a vertically integrated real estate investing company.
I love it, man. And, at 29 years old too, that's pretty impressive. So kudos to you
Appreciate
to take that leap of faith, because 65 rentals that's a lot of property to manage.
Yeah, it is.
So good for you, dudes. You were doing inspections, you caught the real estate bug, seeing what these guys were doing. What really encouraged you to do your first deal? Like, what did that look like, that transition from doing the inspections to actually being the investor?
Yeah, so my uncle came to me. It's funny how everything played out. My uncle came to me right before graduating college, and he was like, "Hey, do you want to invest in real estate with me?" And I had no idea what it even was. Didn't even know really what my dad did, to be completely honest. And long story short, 6 months later, we ended up partnering and bought a deal together. So we were flipping this house, which we ended up in the next 16 to 18 months, lost 100 grand on. So not the traditional start that most people do.
Oh, man.
So 4,000 square foot house. I lived in it with my buddy, bounced room to room, kind of like we were living in college again. It was a shit show, to say the least.
Brutal. So
Yeah.
you lost $100,000 on your first deal.
Yeah. Yeah. Me and my uncle.
That is insane. And you stuck with it.
Yeah.
So here's the real, I know you have a group, right? Here's the real side of real estate, because let's just be honest, man. Like, losing $10,000, $15,000, that's discouraging, but losing $100,000 and how long did that project take you?
It took us start to sell about 18 months.
18 months. So as if the 18 months of the time, the blood, sweat, and tears wasn't enough. Can you share some of like the lessons that you learned in that first deal? Because I think a lot of people benefit from hearing that.
Absolutely. So the biggest lesson I would say after thinking on it for a while is take on a project that's in an area that has very easy, repeatable, comparable sales. So this house was 4,000 square foot, 6 bed, 5 bathrooms, just massive house in a very nice area. So like 1% price point. So we sold it for 710. Most houses in Columbus, Ohio at the time are selling for in the low 100s to mid 2s, right? So find an area that is first time home buyer range. Don't take down a full gut rehab. Buy something that you can get in and out of relatively fast. So don't leverage too much money. Don't leverage too much time, and find something that you can at least analyze closely without losing a bunch of money.
Dude, it's great advice. And that's what I tell everybody I talk to as well. And especially when it comes to like virtual real estate investing, I love my Midwest market. Like Columbus,
Hmm.
Ohio, very comparable to the market that I invest in Nebraska. And
Okay.
so that price point is what, $300,000 average price. You don't want to go too high above that. And you definitely don't want to buy a house that needs a ton of renovation. So very valuable lessons there. Now, I hear this talked about quite a bit, and I'm curious on your take with regards to buying rental properties. So, like, you haven't been in the business for too long, right? When did you get started into this business, and when did you actually hold your first rental property versus like wholesaling or
Hmm.
flipping?
Yeah, so I started as a home inspector in 2017. I bought my first rental property, which was a house hack, in 2019. So it's been about a little over 5 years of actively investing.
Beautiful. Was there like a transition to where you felt like you had this dialed in to where now I feel good about holding the properties? Was it like after a certain amount of deals, or can you talk to that? Because I know for me personally, what ends up happening for people who are very on this hamster wheel of active income, they start scaling, they start spending more on marketing, they start
Hmm.
having to do more deals to keep up with the operational expenses. And then all
Yep.
of a sudden they look back and they're like, I just wholesaled all my best deals. Where do they go?
Yep.
So
Yeah.
talk to that.
Yeah, when I say we, I found a business partner doing a home inspection. So we're 50-50 partners. We teamed up in 2020, and it was kind of perfect. I call it half-ass wholesaling. I was half-ass wholesaling. I was sending marketing out. I didn't have the time. I didn't really know how to do sales, but I knew I was charismatic enough if I got in front of a seller that I could probably sell them because I knew houses enough and I could figure out ARVs. But the big thing was we didn't have a business out of it. So he saw my leads. He came from a car sales business. He's, dude, I can get deals out of this. So we came together and we ended up doing like 50 wholesale deals our first year together. So we ended up making a lot of active income, but our goals were really aligned. We both wanted to own assets. So in the beginning, we were buying deals off of the company for ourselves. So I would buy a rental, he would buy a rental with him and his other friend from growing up. And then eventually we were like, hey, let's do this together. So there's a vetting period. And then we were just picking off the best deals. And this was 2021 into 2022. We bought probably 40 doors together while the interest rates were still in the 4 to 5 range.
I feel like that was the year to pick up a lot of deals. They were printing cash, right?
Hmm.
And so you could get cheap money. So
Yep.
I think that's a good rule of thumb, though, right? Is get that active income, have some liquidity because things might go wrong when you hold property, right? Like there's a
Yep.
lot of things that can happen. And I think it's pretty cool, man. Following your social media, like you share a lot of the things that people don't want to talk about, like the things that suck in this
Yeah.
business. Do you have any, is there like one story recently that happened that was just like crazy or a story that people would be interested in hearing, you think?
I always like to show the stories of us losing money. So we're losing money on a flip right now. We're losing probably about 20, 30 grand, depends on what it sells for. Just because we took on this giant rehab transitioning area. We're 15 months in. We're going to sell probably in about 15 months. So I think we're at month 13, 14 now. Hopefully it goes into contract soon. Took 6 months to get permits, and it's just been a pain in the butt dealing with the city. And I got a private money loan on it day one. So my interest has been accruing like crazy over the last 13 months, and
Yep.
we're going to end up taking a loss on it. So whenever I post stuff like that, people on the internet love to see you lose, especially if you're on there like sharing good things and money and doing something good with your life. People love to be haters. So that usually fuels the fire.
It's relatable, right? It's
It
like,
is.
"Oh my gosh, this guy keeps talking about how he just made 50,000, 30,000, all this
Mhm.
stuff," and it's like, "Oh, it's about damn time he lost some money on this deal." No, it is interesting to say the least. I've noticed that too, that those posts tend to get some more traction. Speaking of which, along this journey, you decided to start to share a lot more of your journey. I'd love to kinda hear how that progression went, like, it's interesting to me to see that, right? How long did it take you to start to build up some big following like you have right now?
Yeah, so even when I was a home inspector, I'd post on my stories. So we saw the from beautiful $1 million houses to walking through literally like human feces in a basement for an
Yes.
investor.
Yeah.
So whenever I go into something like I would think was a little bit crazy, I'd record it, and you forget that people are not in real estate every day. they don't get to walk houses every day. So when they see this stuff, they're like, how is that possible? Because everybody lives in their own bubble, in their own universe. So being able to give an insight on like the extremes of how people live, whether it's a millionaire and they drive like a Lamborghini, down to people living with fleas and all that stuff in their house. So, and I was like, oh, people like this. So as we started to do more deals in the investing side, and I'm still young, so people can relate with that. And my one of my mentors, he goes, Tom, you got to get on, you got to do more on social media. Meaning, yeah, I see you do stories, but you got to post. You got to post your what you're doing. Document, don't create. So whatever you're doing, just make a video about it. So everything you see on my social media, we're at different houses, we're at different sites. Those are actually properties that I own or have in contract. So they're real stories behind them. So you don't have to like kind of make something up and be creative. It's just what is actually happening with that house. So that kind of took off as time went on. But I've been posting every day for probably 2.5 years now. For the first year, I got no traction. The video sucked. I had a guy following me around with the camera, doing that whole thing, and I realized that just didn't work, at least for me. So I digested, like I just said, the houses and what worked and the lessons, and then I would write out everything, and then we would shoot on those things, and that really completely changed my social media business.
Yeah, that's powerful, man. And it's been cool to see that because there's a couple schools of thought, right? There's I'm doing this, it's not working, but you didn't give up. Like you kept doing it every single day, but then you got more strategic with it.
Yeah,
I'm curious, like from a value perspective, how do you like what's that equate to? What's your ROI on your
sure.
time? Because in the beginning, this is a limiting belief that I had and still somewhat have is man, I'm spending a lot of time. I'm paying people to produce this video.
Mhm.
Like, when am I going to see an ROI on it? So, how impactful has that been for your brand, for your home buying, for your
Sure.
personal, all of that?
So in the beginning, and even still today, a lot of it is stuff you can't put a direct ROI on. So it's brand building, it's having a name that's actually means something. So a lot of it's private money, man. I mean, the amount of money I've raised on social media has been absolutely insane. If I posted right now, by the time this ended in 15 minutes, I could raise 250 grand easily, like from somebody I've never met before in my life. So it's super powerful. And I had a meetup 2 weeks ago. I had one story post. We had 150 people. It sold out in less than 24 hours.
It's
So
crazy.
it's being people just knowing what you do, giving real advice, and then beyond that, I mean, we have now the community that we actually monetize. Everybody's come from social media, literally every single person. So it's the front end of the funnel. There's still fulfillment and things you got to do on the back end, but that's your resume. It's what do you do? What do you stand for? What are your ethics? And how does it boil down to these people? Because some people may hate you, some people may like you. So you got to just show them what you're like.
I love it, man. And as I told you before we started this, I'm like, I feel like we know each other because I'm friends with you on social media
Yeah.
and we haven't met, but that's the world that we live in, right? It's a virtual world. And you can get a pretty good read on somebody from the way that they move in their videos, the way they
Yeah.
speak, etc. And the proof of what you just said happened to me recently. My operator connected the dots with a high income earner in our industry and he texts me, he's like, "Hey man, I'm about to fund one of your deals." Like I hadn't even met this guy yet, hadn't even talked to him. I'm about to fund one of your deals. I just wanted to introduce myself. I've already done all my research on you. I've looked at your TikToks, all of this stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, dude, this is awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't even make the connection, but this guy already knows, likes, and trusts me and my brand because of social media.
It's
Um,
It's
yeah,
crazy. I just locked up a 9 unit last week and it was way under market value. And I actually was able to speak with the lender because the seller is going under and she just gave all her properties to this lender and he's dealing with it. And as I was talking to him, he already had my social media. So he was like, dude, I trust you. Like, whatever you say you're going to do, I trust you. I
yeah.
looked through your stuff and I was like, wow, that's awesome. I don't have to sit here and try to explain myself and have somebody trust me already.
It's a great place to be, man, for sure. I remember in the early days where like you felt like you had to explain yourself
Hmm.
and this the t- what's the access to the information out there just changes the game entirely. So,
Absolutely.
hey, for you guys listening, this is your cue, right? To go check out our profiles, check out Tommy's profile and see what they're doing and authenticity is a huge part of that, right? It's just being
Yeah.
yourself And, you just never know what could come from that. So
Yeah. Speak on what you know. Don't try and be somebody you're not. And it's going to follow. You're going to have imposter syndrome. There's still times where I have imposter syndrome, but you just got to kind of get past that, especially if you truly feel like you're the expert or close to the expert. I mean, you could be documenting your journey. I have people that have followed me for 7 years since I've been posting. And like, dude, it's time. I finally want to lend you some money. I see what you've done. It's a compounding effect.
that's right. That's right. You keep showing up and good things are going to happen. Right.
100%.
All right. So man, 60 some rentals, you're 29 years old, you're getting after it. Like what's your business look like right now? And where do you see this going here in the future?
Yeah, so we still have a pretty good, I mean, our wholesaling engine is the backbone of our business, I'll call it. So our lead gen. So everything kind of has and will stem from the wholesaling side. So we have two sales guys on acquisitions. We have a full-time dispo, virtual assistant sprinkled in there to help with the data and the marketing and stuff like that. And then my business partner sits on that side of the business. He trains, he does all that because he has that sales background. Now I know how to do all that stuff, but I'm more in the construction side. So we're doing anywhere from 12 to 15 contracts a month on the wholesaling side. And right now we're doing anywhere from 10 to 15 renovations at a time, which I oversee more of it because of my home inspection background. So we divide and conquer and come together on bigger things, but we don't step on each other's toes when it comes to that stuff. And it's been great. So we have a project manager. We have a bunch of subs that pretty much work for us, not anybody else. So we're churning and burning a lot of rehabs. And then we have a property management company where we have a full-time maintenance guy, a full-time team member that runs it, and then a virtual assistant under that, and then a full-time office manager. So we have about 10 people in the US on staff and another 5 or 6 in the Philippines that are working VAs.
That's solid, dude. Very cool dynamic that you have there. It makes sense that you're overseeing the construction side. I was
Mhm.
actually going to ask you, so since you were a home inspector, do you guys do home inspections on your properties, or is that just like not needed with you kind of overseeing that piece of the equation there?
It just depends on like where it comes in from the funnel, you know. So part of our process on the wholesaling side is when we get a contract in, whether it's we do a lot of virtual and we're in our own market, we send my family home inspection company in to give us the pictures and the report. So a
Nice.
lot of times we won't walk it, but we'll have that available for us. But if it comes from another wholesaler and I can see enough pictures and or walk it, no, I don't get a home inspection because you walk so many houses, you know what's going on.
100%. There are surprises on these older houses, right, that you just can't see,
Always.
whether it's foundation or whatever the issue is.
Yeah.
We try to avoid the 1900 houses or like the eight.
Oh,
Believe it or not, they're still out there. We just bought one actually that was like really old, and I'm like trying to sell it on the market. I'm like, man, somebody better buy this. I don't want to rehab this thing.
yeah.
Uh, but what's it like having a business partner, man? Have you guys had? Is it pretty clear on who's the visionary, who's the operator in your
Yeah.
dynamic there?
Yeah, he's clearly the operator. I'm too scatterbrained. I'm terrible at managing my calendar and time. Like I'm
Yeah.
more of, but we also meet in the middle. Like we both have big goals, but he's very much so the operator and integrator. So when we come to the family mastermind, he's taking a lot of notes. I'm meeting everybody. I'm trying to connect with everybody. So
Yeah.
yeah, very much that way. We've never once argued about money. So I've gotten very lucky just the way we both are. We trust each other with everything. And if one person feels strongly about a deal more than the other, we'll do the deal. So we run a lot of off of emotion and whoever feels strongly about something.
Yeah. No, it's that's cool. It's a neat dynamic, right? Because I'm in a partnership as well. And if you're not clear, if you don't trust each other, if you don't have some of that feeling about, hey, like I think this is a good deal, like let's do it, or one of the person's like shaking their head and you can trust that intuition, like
Yeah.
I really think that's a great partnership that you've got going there. So kudos to you on that because people ask all the time, right? Like, what's it like being in a partnership? And, the success rate is about as good as divorce in a partnership. So it's not easy, but those are some really good qualities to have for sure.
Yeah, people jump into bed with each other way too early, man. Do a couple deals together, feel each other out, but don't do a 50-50 partnership on one deal. Do it, split it. So for the first year or so, we were together, but we every time we did a wholesale deal, we would split the money. I mean, keep the marketing in and we'd pay ourselves out.
Didn't go
So
start an entity right away. You did some deals and then
yeah.
branched off. Nice, man. Well, that's pretty cool. And Columbus, Ohio, like tell me about that because, I'm in a Midwest market, but I'm always curious on other Midwest markets on what are you seeing in the market today from like the
Mhm.
wholesale market cuz I don't know about you, but 2023 and, buyers just kind of froze with
Mhm.
the interest rates. So,
Yep.
what are you seeing in the market right now, but also like average deals, and has that changed over the last year?
Yeah. So for some reason, Columbus, Ohio has been on the top 5 to 10 list of booming markets the last 5 years. So there's a lot of tech coming in. Microsoft is building a $3 billion chip plant in Columbus. There's Facebook, there's Google. So the affordability is there and the land's available for them. So there's been a lot of jobs coming in. And I've lived here my whole life. So I'm like, why the hell are they coming to Columbus, Ohio? But I, you never know. But
Yeah.
us, we kind of saw the same thing. End of last year, I would say October, November, people froze. Maybe a little bit before that, but December, man, for some reason picked up again like crazy. We started wholesaling again like nuts.
Federal Reserve
Yeah.
telegraphed the next, foreseeable
hmm
future. I think that's what I saw at least as an
hmm
investor myself.
Yeah. So it's booming again. We have people buying deals, first time buyers again. So we're not going to these people that run businesses like me. We're wholesaling to people with their first, second, or third deal, which is what I want to see every time because they'll typically pay more than somebody that has an operation and overhead. So that's who we're targeting, or contractors. And our average deal size right now is 15, 20 grand. So that the wholesale fees have been really good. Whereas 2021 to 2022, we weren't stretching our deals as much as we should have, I think, but it was right around 10 to 12,000 for a little while there.
Yeah, ours went from about 20 to 22 in
Nice.
2022, and then they dropped almost in half in 2023, and we've also seen an uptick as of recent too. But so I'm in Las Vegas. I don't know if you knew that or not, but
Yeah.
we do deals in primarily the Midwest, but we've also started running ads in Las Vegas.
Nice.
So there's a pretty big difference, obviously, from that market to Vegas, but it's been pretty cool because I feel like the higher the price, the bigger the spread can be. And
Yep.
so I've been really enjoying that, pushing my team to buy deeper, but it's a lot of fun, man. Yeah, and I don't know, are you a Ohio State fan? Is that why people are coming to Columbus?
Born and raised an Ohio State fan, man. So definitely not as much of an obnoxious one as some people can be. But my whole family, my family line, everybody's from this area. So Columbus. I didn't go to school in Columbus. I went to the University of Dayton, which is hour west.
Mhm.
So if Dayton's playing Ohio State, I usually root for Dayton. But other than that, Ohio State
Yeah, it's pretty easy to cheer for a team when they're, like, crushing it too. So,
every
Dayton's
year.
more of a
Yeah,
basketball team, right? Aren't they more
yeah,
known for basketball?
yeah. Basketball, and I played soccer out there, so I like to root on the basketball team. The football team's not. I mean, they're like Division 1 AA, so it's typically only rooting for basketball.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's cool, man. What about personal world? Are you family guy? Or what do you do for fun, man?
Yeah, so I just got married about 7 months ago. So man, time's flying by. Back in June, so late
Okay.
June, got married. My wife is 22 weeks pregnant right now, so I know
Hey,
you got a few
congrats.
kids. So I got
Yeah.
one on the way, which is super exciting because I come from a family, one of 5 kids, like I said in the beginning. My parents have had a great relationship. They both come from broken households, so they made it a point to our family is going to be together. So every Sunday, my sister lives in Cleveland, but everybody else lives here and have significant others. So we all come to family dinner on Sunday. My mom's my realtor now. She quit her job of 30 years as a teacher to work full time being my realtor and doing that. And my dad's a home inspector. So everybody kind of works in real estate, and it's cool to see how the family dynamic has changed with me taking that risk to do the investing because nobody really did it before I took the jump.
Yeah, so you're certainly the outlier in that equation, but super cool to hear that because, obviously we talk a lot about business, we talk a lot about scaling, but at the end of the day, I don't know about you, but I know for me and for many other people, it's about family, right? It's why we do what we do. It's why we wanted to create legacy wealth. And
Yep.
so it's really cool to hear that, you know, there was a trajectory that could have went down totally different paths, but somebody decided that they weren't gonna do that to their family, and
Yeah.
as Ed Milet says, "You're the one, man,"
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
really cool to see that. Now, how about your wife? Is she involved with the business at all, or is she just nurturing or getting ready to have a baby and focusing on that?
Yeah, so she's a nurse. She works in the ER. So she's a trauma one nurse. She's in one of the biggest trauma hospitals here in Columbus. So she works 2 nights a week, does a lot cooler stuff than I do. I'm just doing deals. She's saving lives. So she loves it. She loves doing that stuff. She loves being the nurturer. And it's funny because me and my mom butt heads, but for the longest, she was always like, "You're gonna end up with somebody that's like a nurse, a nurturer." Because I'm very like headstrong, kind of in your face, but I got a soft side to me. I need somebody that can just be there, and it's exactly how it worked out. So I don't foresee her really being in the business, but she can call some of the shots, obviously. But I like to separate those things. I don't want to bring any of that animosity or anything home. What about you and your wife?
I'm with you 100%, man. And it, I believe, is a healthy dynamic because as a driver, right, I'm very similar to you in the fact that, man, I just want to do deals. I want
Yeah,
to talk to people about real estate. I want to do deals. And I can do it all day, every day because I love it. It's what fires me up. But on the flip side of that, this morning before we hopped on here, I she had an appointment. I went and took my kids to the park. It really helps me balance things out. I can give her a break for a little bit, but she is 100% a mom, and we have 3 kids, so
it's awesome.
it's necessary because, dude, raising 3 kids, like,
They're young too, right?
yeah, 5, 3, and newborn.
Ooh, yeah, I
Mhm.
can't even imagine.
So, yeah, it's a lot of fun, and, we're on our toes with the kids, but couldn't do it without her, man. But the beauty of what we do as business owners, and I'll get to this with your business model, like, we can work from home. We can build a business that's gonna serve us, and I think that's what everybody ideally pictures when they get into real estate, right? Does it happen overnight? No way. But can you get there? I think that's the question. So for you, do you feel like you have gotten closer to that ideal with your business, or what would you say to
Absolutely.
that?
Yeah, it's really weird because I mean, once you have that drive and when you have nothing to do, it feels really, really weird. So you got to find something else to do, grow the business in different ways, or add another thing to it. So I'm excited to see what it looks like now when I have a kid because there's times where I'm like, okay, I'm getting antsy, I need something to do, and I'm gonna probably give that energy to my wife and kid when he's born. So I'm just super excited for it. I'm going to let it come at me. And I have the blessing now to be able to take time because we have a team that I can really lean on, business partner that I can really lean on and trust and take that time if need be. It's all about having options and this is a business that can give you the option.
Yeah, dude, 100%. Couldn't agree with you more. With that being said, you're single family primarily, right? From what I've gathered, do you have any plans to do anything else real estate related, multifamily, commercial, anything like that?
Yeah, so we have an 8 unit that just came through our marketing. So we took that down. We're about to buy a 9 unit here in about a month. It's just I look at everything through the lens of opportunity cost. If I don't have the time to fully dedicate it, because I don't want to half-ass do anything. So if I can't turn off the other side and it still run and make as much money or more without me, everybody says, and go broke, meet broke, because it's a year or two out of like really hitting the pavement hard on commercial. You got to network. You got to learn how to do everything differently, different marketing. So I'm not ready for it yet. I am, but it's just really when I do something, I commit to it and I don't waver from it.
That's key. Write that one down, listeners, because it's very easy to get distracted, to have that shiny object. And I'm buddies with guys who own 2, 3,000 units, right? And they're like, Michael, like, man, how come you're not doing multifamily? You kill it, right? And I'm just like, dude, I'm like a single family, like I'm laser focused. I've got it dialed in. And if I take my eye off that, like, yes, I have people in place, but I just don't want to stop on what's working. So I think there's going to be a time for it, but I'm glad you said that, man, because I always like, as a visionary, I'm always like, what's next, right?
Yeah,
And so it's good to keep your eye on what's working for sure.
100%.
Awesome, dude. Well, really appreciate you coming on, Tommy. I'm unfortunately not going to be at the next family, so I won't be able to shake your hand, but I'll see you soon enough, man. And if you're in Vegas, of course, just hit me up. With that being said, for people who want to, follow you, see your cat houses, see your mansions, uh, cars, whatever, like where can they follow you at on social?
Yeah. So Instagram is Tommy Harr05. And then there you can kind of get to anywhere else. I have a YouTube that I just started and we're going to be growing. So if you want longer form content at Tom Harr, you'll be able to see kind of the ins and outs in longer form.
Beautiful, man. So yeah, give Tommy a follow on the socials on YouTube. And if you guys got value today, please share this with a friend. We obviously don't charge for the show, so we want more people to hear about it. I'm on a mission to help as many people as possible learn all the lessons, right? That Tommy and I have went through so that way you don't have to make the same mistakes. Now, with that being said, man, any final thoughts that you'd like to leave listeners with?
I always like to leave it with this, and you said it earlier quickly. This real estate stuff is going to change your life, but you have to stick with it. It's not going to happen overnight. So if you can commit yourself to eating shit for 1, maybe 2 years to learn it, take your lumps, after that, your life is going to drastically change. So stick with it, have a big enough goal to go through those hardships, and I promise you your life is going to change for the better.
Boom. Dude, that's awesome. All right, dude. Well, thank you for coming on, brother. Appreciate you. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Boom. Another episode in the books. Thank you guys again for listening. Before I let you go, I just wanted to invite you to our Facebook group, Virtual Deal Makers. It's a perfect place to connect and collaborate with other like-minded real estate investors. And all you have to do is simply search Virtual Deal Makers on Facebook and apply to join the group. Thanks again to our sponsor, Property Pros Marketing, for supporting the show. Go ahead and check them out at propertyprosmarketing.com to elevate your lead generation. If you enjoyed today's episode, subscribe, rate, and leave a review. It really helps, and we greatly appreciate it. Share the podcast with your friends, and stay tuned for more valuable insights. Visit thevirtualmillionaires.com to see everything about the episode and connect with me. Thanks again for tuning in. Until next time, keep crushing those deals and building your real estate empire. This is Michael McDonald signing off from The Virtual Millionaire Show.